Robin is right there.
Yeah. So, some really great training. You can just tell that there's an encyclopedia in this man's brain, right? And it's got a calculator and a phone. Just so you guys know, James is my mentor, and I've been brought along by James. You're with Scott Rowe and different folks. We've got some really powerful people that we're modeling this after, and success breeds success, guys. So what we'd like to do, so I want to thank you, James, for being here and just being here for us. And Mark, why don't you get Mark and Robin up here? Listen, there, Robin. And so for the Seattle group, let's just debrief what happened today, or maybe what didn't happen today, because now we have our tea time, or we're ready to go. Right, just get out of here and go fish.
We got the whole afternoon.
So Paul, let's get Paul in here for.
She's got it. Okay, so they postponed.
All right. So what ended up happening today, and this is pretty typical, is the caller came out and he starts out going by all the postponements, and the property that we had driven, we had done all our analysis on, ended up getting postponed until February. So it's not being called today. So that was the only property that we were bidding on. So that means we have the rest of the afternoon to go golf.
Or go knock on the door.
Or do something, but
it's skiing. Robin has a question of Robin.
If it goes, so if it, well, there won't be.
That was my point.
So, okay, so it's postponed until February. Does that give you that time to potentially go and meet that homeowner and acquire it that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that buys us some time. If we want to do the pre-foreclosure, that gives us some time to go back out there, try to talk to the owner, see if we can work out something out.
And reasons for the postponement could be the homeowner is working with the trustee. And they're saying, hey, we've got something, and the trustee feels like maybe what they've got is enough to take care of it, okay? And so they might give them a little extra time. Or the bank just didn't get their act together and they have to have certain paperwork here in time for this thing to go out to auction, and they didn't have it all in order, so the bank will just postpone it because they didn't do their thing. So
but it would be a good thing.
it would be a good thing because you now have time to go.
Right.
Let me tell you how I see some of this extra time. This house is going to sell at foreclosure at some point.
Yes.
Don't you think, Robin?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how do I get my information? I went to auction 7 times on one up here on Machias on 20 acres one. 7 times. So after today, I'm going to go up door knock. I'm going to build my file. I'm going to knock on neighbor. How do I say I get into neighbors' houses or find out that information? It's not always on the first strike. It might not even be on the 3rd time, but I'm building my case. I'm going to find this guy. I don't know where Dennis was just here from Pickett Street, but they had me go out to keep finding this one guy to get him out of the house. And the guy off of 220, I think it's like he had unhooked the water, a 3-inch main that was filling up the basement and going down the hill. Back when we worked at Keller Williams, it was crazy. So just send John. I'm diligent. Or send Robin. Knock on that door. He gated and fenced himself in. It was the stupidest thing. I finally met him going and coming. When do people go and come? Ugly times in the morning and night going to work. Where do you have to be? You have to be there. So we'll find this guy. We'll get in, or we'll get in the neighbors. We'll build our file. So in a competitive situation, I'll be better here February 2nd than I was today because I'll get more detail. We'll watch the comps, but we'll do a little bit more in detail. Yeah. Especially this is important when there were 100 homes going to auction today, not just a handful. Now, those postponements, I look at it as, cool. Everybody else is looking at the next list. I'm thinking of February 2nd. Right. Of course, you're trying to pick it up if you can during that time, but more than likely, this one's not going to crack the code. More than likely, who knows, right? But if it does here, I want to be able to bid as competitively if I can or have to, if competition pushes me.
So let me put it in, let me help understand that all of you are investors.
Good question.
Right now.
Robin H.
Have you ever heard of somebody losing their job being in a financial situation, maybe not being able to make their payments? Have you ever heard of somebody going, I'm upside down and I don't know what to do? Have you ever heard somebody that says, you know, I don't know, my wife just lost her job, we haven't made our payment, some things are going wrong. See, you're the eyes and the ears to hear the situations before it even gets into a situation. So if you know the homeowner and they're going through these experiences, we want to understand you are now the investor. You are now having to be able to help solve this person's problem. And you, by putting together your team, you don't need any money because of the fact that your team has the money. Your team has the ability to help that homeowner out, and it could be a relative. It could be your own house. It could be, hey, I don't want anybody knowing about it. So this is very interesting because a lot of people, they get embarrassed when situations, they don't want anybody knowing it. So they close the door, they stay inside, they let the process to go. But if you hear somebody in a situation, you are now the investor.
Yep.
So feel it on your heart to make sure that you are getting the right people to these people. Please allow somebody, let them know to allow somebody into their life. I have known a situation where a house was in pre-foreclosure. It got loan modded, waited for the loan mod to go through, and ended up going through a second foreclosure process. But at the end of that 2.5 years, there was a principal reduction done on this house from 351 to 117. That turned into the person getting their life back on track. And 2 years later, they moved out and bought a house up on a hill with the view of a lake. And they turned that into a rental for the last 4 years. And now they just got done selling the property on a subject to keeping the mortgage in somebody's name, in the homeowner's name. They put an all-inclusive second deed of trust to control that equity position with the note, and somebody came in and put a down payment on the house, and the homeowner now became the owner using the bank, and a $259 cash flow for the next 15 years, and selling the property through the title and giving title insurance. This was my wife's house. And this is why being an investor and knowing I was the guy that was having somebody knock on the door, because this was in 2007, 2008 when things got tough. So this is why 10 years later or 11 years later, we cash flowed $20,000 a month now. We live the lifestyle we want. We have been the product of people knocking on our door. So it's one of those things that we were sometimes embarrassed to go, I've got real estate investor on my truck, yet the house that we purchased, not knowing it, we over leveraged. The market turned faster, we solved that problem, but in the idea of solving the problem, we're now the bank on this thing for 15 years with cash flow. So once you know the entire strategies of this, you just understand that you play the game.
And the point is get the word out when you're in this business. Don't hide the fact that you're a real estate investor. Be proud of it, even if you haven't done a deal. Your warm market, the people around it, everybody needs to know that you're in this business, because somebody knows somebody, a situation like that. And now we can talk and we can beat the bank, we can beat all the investors, and we can help people, or we can help them, solve that problem. So really.
And there's not a situation you can't bring to me that probably I haven't been through. I was Air Force 20 years.
Some people are problem children, James. It's all right. It's all right. There is a fix. There is a fix.
Remember that call?
Yeah, I do. It was raining that day too.
It was raining that day too.
Getting wet.
So
Tomorrow, guys, we're going to teach you in between the lines of all the things that you've been hearing up here. You've been getting free training today.
But I gotta say that John is actually the one that has been helping so many people in this. Tomorrow, he's going to go nuts and bolts and details. Robin's going to he's going to break down the numbers.
He's going to do the nuts and the bolts. He's a nut, I'm the bolt. We're just going to get screwed together.
Dominic's got software.
And then you guys are all going to come undone.
Dominic's got software. He's going to pull it open, look inside. So this is an inside out on an entire deal from start to nuts and bolts of training tomorrow. So we are so excited that you guys are actually going to have all your eyes and ears, and you're going to be in a property in the next how long? Monday. Sunday, you're going to make some phone call to somebody, and you're going to be a real estate investor, and you've got a property locked up under contract, all cash. Congratulations.
I'm going to go to that class. No, guys, we're going to have a great day training you guys tomorrow. It's just, coming from the heart and from the streets. That's why we do this. And when it really gets up and rolling within the group, you'll be plugged into our weekly mastermind study groups, where we go out and debrief this information on a weekly basis. You're engaged with partners in a mastermind, and that's what Mark and Carla here are setting up, James in his city, me helping in multiple cities with groups. Get this so that this can actually be a place where you can engage and you can mastermind, you can network, and you can actually realize this for real. And I know some faces here. I mean, some Jonathan, different people I've seen for years, still at it, still trying to crack the code on this thing. And there's a difference, Jonathan, the old way versus the new way. And you're seeing it happen. And so if you want to see that happen, come in and check out what this group is doing. That's why we're spending the time
when
here.
When do we meet? When do you guys meet?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights, yeah.
On a weekly basis.
So, on a weekly basis. So we're looking forward to having you guys mastermind on a weekly basis with us and continue to expand.
Yep. And
your
learn every
wealth
time
in
you
real
walk
estate.
away learning something and or meeting somebody. I've picked up 3 or 4 cards today. I don't know about you guys, but they're out there. There's people, right? And they've come up to us and I've gone up to them. Right? So
That's it.
anything, Mark and Carla, you're hosting us tomorrow.
Any questions, comments?
See everybody, be on time. Be on time. Early is on time.
Early is
Early is on time. On time is late.
Exactly.
On time we start promptly at 9 o'clock.
And then we have fun afterwards because the meeting after the meeting is always where some real good information comes slipping out too, right?
At the brewery.
At the brewery. LMA.
Yep.
All right.
The real
Not
mastermind.
See everybody
All
tomorrow.
right, guys. Thank
All right.
you.
See everybody tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.